Good evening, one and all. It being Wednesday, February 17th at 6 p.m. I'm going to open the meeting. This meeting is occurring over Zoom, video phone teleconference per the allowance under the governor's emergency order number 12 that waives the requirement of having a quorum of the board physically present for a public meeting. Call to order, Alan Silly.
Present.
Kathleen DeWolf,
Present.
Andy Fitch,
Present.
Francis Newton,
Present.
Eli Badger is here. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss AED issues that have cropped up over the last few days. We have asked that figures be gotten, for example, from VEPSPA for the meters for the electric, well, obviously the electric department. There have been a couple of other things that have popped up that we will need to talk about shortly. But this meeting is primarily about the Ashland Electric Department. Craig, I am going to share my screen and pick up, I think it's this one.
Well, I can see it.
Okay, it does. Okay, everybody can see it now.
Okay.
Good. I thought I was going completely nuts. Okay, Craig, you've got control of the meeting and tell us what VEPSA says.
Well, so I reached out to, I think, Ken Nolan at Best Buy, and give me a basic breakdown of what it's going to cost for these meters. And I did the same thing from Eaton. I said, I need a simple breakdown, and I got a bunch of stuff. And so I put it in this little spreadsheet. And my intention was to put a side-by-side comparison so you guys could see it in one sheet. I didn't get all this stuff from Eaton until I think it was 5 o'clock, quarter 5, when I got my emails or whenever it was. Somewhere around that line, you can look at the time it came in. But so I didn't have this. If you look at the Eaton page, I think there's a 3-page document that really spells it out. It gives a lot of what ifs and some information I didn't need, and that's what I didn't. You guys don't need to look through the 3 pages. You need something like what you see in front of you.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to go through today, but I waited all day and talking with them and finally got it. And of course, I don't know if this was ever obtained by Charlie or not, if he ever got this stuff. I think if he had gotten a sheet, it would have been easier for them to send it to me. But he may have never gotten a cost because it seemed to take quite a while to get the Eaton proposal.
Well, what Charlie told us was the Aclara aspect of this.
Yeah, and that's from Vespa, Vermont Power.
Yeah.
And actually Eaton, they're using different meters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What are they? They're the Centron meters instead of the Aclara meters. So anyway, if you look at the top number 1, Aclara aspect meters are $386,000. If you guys remember back when we did the presentation back in November, was that November when they came down and maybe
Yeah.
And Vespa gave us this presentation. So I still don't know how many meters we have today that are residential. I don't know how many are commercial, and I don't know how many are industrial. Until we really know that, we don't know the total cost of what this is going to cost us. So if you look at the proposal from Vespa, it's $500,000 or whatever it is. That's the newest one. I'm looking through all my stuff. So $531,000. Now that takes into account for all the meters, you know, so if we have 1,600, what their proposal was roughly 1,600 household meters at $125 per meter. That was roughly 200 commercial meters at $392 per meter, and then roughly 150 industrial meters at $408. But I don't think we have 150 industrial meters out there. So the price that I got from Vermont Power, I think is very inflated. It's not going to be $531,000. So I really need to talk to Ken about that. We need to, maybe it's better for me just to make a spreadsheet that says, you know, each Vespa's meters are $125 per meter, you know, or we can go with the Eaton meters at $103 a meter, and show it to you that way. But I do need to get some information on how many industrial meters we have and how many commercial meters and how many residential meters we have. So once I get that, I could get a better figure for you guys on what this is going to cost. So then you go down the line with the Vespa thing, you know, meter installation. If I have a full crew, I talked to Rob already before this, you know, this weekend Monday while we were working, I said, you know, well, we had some downtime. What about meters? Can we put these in, and how many do you think we can do? We have a full crew. We can do the metering ourselves. We can put, you know, 150 meters in a week easy with our crew, and that's not taking 100% of their time. That's with just putting the meters in. When, you know, maybe they all go out and they take 50 meters each and they put them in. They spend one day on it. So we can install the meters. So we would be potentially save $58,000 there. If you keep going down through, there's some other things, you know, the contingency plan. That's if, I think what I remember in that presentation, don't forget, we might need to change some sockets around. You guys remember that? You might not. Well, that's the contingency plan in case we have to, because if we're changing the meters, I think they said then we might have to pay the upgrade for that socket. That would be on us to do that. So that's probably the contingency, but see, that again, I don't know. I haven't had time to talk over with all these people that type of stuff. And then the GIS, you know, we can put all these meters into GIS, but again, it's $2,000, but I probably, Andrew down at the Water and Sewer, he's a smart kid. He can probably do that for us. So we save a little bit of money there too. So I think the $531,000 is inflated. When talking with Ken Nolan today, some of the benefits going with them. Now let me go over what he told me. They're not in it to make any money, you know, with Vespa. They're in it to help us, you know, small municipalities like us.
They want to keep us as a customer.
Yeah, they want to keep us as a customer because they know we can buy power anywhere. So the benefit with going with Vespa is really just to have their knowledge and to help us with the data that they can collect from these meters. They'll tell us exactly how much power we can buy. And that's a good thing. They say they're not making money, and to be honest, he's told me they don't have the final, I'll just check my emails. They don't have the final cost for a meter. They think it's going to be less. So roughly their meters are $125 a piece, and Eaton's quoted me $103 for a residential. So they think, you know, Vespa thinks their cost is going to go down, but they're still trying to negotiate with a clearer, according up even now. And don't forget, it's only been, you know, 2 or 3 months since they did the final, you know, that presentation for us. Excuse me. So that's, I mean, we can go on to the Eaton one if you guys want to look at that. It's up to you. There's a lot of a lot of stuff there, but their bottom line is $300,000. But they don't, there's a Vesper, when they gave us the quote, they included all those industrial and commercial meters. We don't have all, I mean, we have what, a couple of industrial meters. What do we got? Freudenberg, and maybe down to the shoe tree. What else do we have that's industrial? I mean, I don't.
The
We
mill area,
Yeah.
minus 33.
Yeah, so there's a few, commercial, I think that's gotta be like all the stores in town, Common Man, you know, Show Fine. Things like that would be, I think would be considered commercial, so.
How about apartment buildings?
Yeah, that might be too. See, that's where I'm gonna have to, and I don't know if there's any experience in the office that can tell me, you know, how many commercial meters. I mean, it must be spelled out in the Able software somewhere.
Able software.
Well, yeah, I think it's just, you know, somebody's gonna have to crunch all these numbers to get a real figure. And I'm happy to do it if I have the time to do it. But I gotta get you some more information because you can see the big difference in price. I think Eaton's price is way low because they only included 1,440 residential meters in their quote. Obviously, I have, you know, industrial and commercial meters that I'm gonna have to add to that, so. Again, they do give the cost on the, I think it was the second page in, or the first page. First page, you guys can see that if you like, and pull it up, and you guys can probably see it right in the center there. It says 1,440 meters. I mean, their price is cheaper, but we don't know the final cost from Vesper yet of what they're gonna go, but I guess with Eaton, they'll have a cloud-based server and somebody is gonna have to interpret the data for us. Now, whether we can send that out to Vesper and have them analyze it for us, I don't, probably we can. Whether it will match up to their system, you know, we'll give them access to it if we were to buy it. I don't know. But they have better pricing, that's for sure, on the metering.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to make something that compares apples to apples. We just don't have it yet. With a short notice, I mean, we only have, you know, I reached out to these guys after our meeting on Monday. And
yeah,
and they only had 2 days really to get back to us. So that's, I mean, you guys can see that. I think we gotta move towards it because we're gonna save money. The price came out to $300,000. That's great. And then I did get an email. If we went with Eaton, they proposed financing to us too, and I can send that off to you guys tomorrow.
okay,
So they gave options on financing for 5 years or 10 years. Now, you don't have to pay anything up front. It looks like, well, I can give all yeah, they're proposing a 5-year loan of $65,000 a year payment for 5 years. If we went with Eaton. That's their 5-year plan.
Yep.
5-year plan is $35,481 a year for 10 years.
and Vespa will do approximately the same, I imagine.
Well, Vespa's gonna put that right on your bill at no charge, no interest.
Yeah.
That's the proposal. They'll add it on our bill at no cost, no interest. That's what I was told by Charlie, and
Yeah, that's the same thing we've heard, I
Yeah.
believe.
yeah, I think so. I mean, you save the interest, whatever the interest is. I know interest is real low, but I can forward all that to you guys too, so you'll have it, your records.
Okay.
But that's what I got so far.
Craig, what is your gut level feeling about one versus the other?
Well, I like the idea of Vesper that they can interpret the data for us. I don't like the $531,000 price tag.
No.
But I think that's gonna go down if I really, obviously we don't have all those meters. But I'm just looking back at the proposal, the PowerPoint that they gave us back in November or December.
Mm-hmm.
They told us in that estimate, they told us we had 150 commercial meters, industrial meters. And I really don't think we have 150 industrial meters. Does anybody think you guys think that's accurate?
Not even
No.
close.
We would have to ask, for example, we'd have to ask water and sewer how many industrial meters they have.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what's up in the air. It seems like just seems odd to me.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that they know about this data, they can interpret it.
Yeah.
And if we get the data, what do we do with it? Maybe the superintendent that you guys hire in the future can interpret that and decide how much power to buy, and I don't know. We just, Eaton's gonna sell us a good product, and it looks like it's a little cheaper right now. But I don't think we need to make a decision tonight. I thought it might be easier. I might have all the data, but I think we need to have another meeting.
Craig, you're absolutely right. We also asked for some figures from our finance people, and that's not forthcoming today.
Right, yeah. I talked with Catherine a bit about that too, and I know Vespa's working with and trying to crunch some numbers. It turns out it's not that easy to figure out what our income is.
That's what I told her this morning. She asked, did you know that there are multi-levels of rates? And I said, yes.
Yeah, right, yeah.
What they are?
Yeah.
No, but that's,
yeah, after the first 100 kilowatts, it goes up.
Yeah.
And then it goes up again.
When can we expect to have these numbers?
The email correspondent said he would work on it. It's very complicated to get a number, but he was gonna try to have it for tonight, but I talked to Catherine at the end of the day and she still didn't have it from him.
no, she didn't have it.
Can we have it, say, from Monday?
Oh, I would say Monday you probably would. Guessing by what the email correspondence that I was copied on, it sounds like that was doable.
So maybe we need to set a meeting for Monday when we have all the numbers and can do a fair comparison, because we really need to vote on this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, talking with Rob, he thought our average customer residential would probably use in the neighborhood around 750 kilowatts. So that's a game changer. It makes after you go over 400, you're paying more, per kilowatt hour. We make money even today. I mean, we got money in the bank, apparently. Talking with Catherine this morning, I think she told me we have over $548,000 in one account alone. So
can we set a meeting for Monday afternoon to get the final figures and vote on this?
I can set one up. What time?
I would like to see for that meeting, I would like to see exactly how many of each type meters that we have, because that's crucial too.
That's a very
Absolutely.
crucial
Yes.
part of this.
it is.
I was told by Mr. Smith in end of December that when AED went to read the meters, they were going to inventory the meters in order to know how many we had of what. Guessing that wasn't done.
I do think they did it. I remember him telling the guys to do it.
Okay,
And maybe, God, was that, when did you say that was?
I think it was December, so it would have been for January?
Maybe the data we got from Vesper is correct then. Maybe that is
No,
actually.
I don't think so, no. Wait, when did they do the demonstration? Was it end of November or beginning of December?
That's what.
Maybe it might have been the December meter reading, beginning of December. Because I don't think it was January, because we already knew that we would be looking for a new town manager.
Let me see. Oh, no, I have it right here. It was December 7th.
Okay,
that They came in and met with us. So maybe that is all correct. I mean, well, we'll just have to confirm. I don't know if Ann can tell us that or not. Who can anybody know who I can get that data from?
whoever read the meters, I don't know how they made the notation on a separate slip or in
Eli,
whatever that thing they carry around and hand notated it, have no idea.
We could probably, if they're all separate meters, we could probably get that from Ann.
Yeah. Well, if I
Yep.
get, if I can get it, then I can, God, I can't believe we don't know that data. I mean, we have to charge different rates for.
Yes,
Yes, and the program should have that data.
Okay.
see,
Well,
I know nothing about the ABLE program. If there's a function that you can
well,
ask to produce that.
and see if he got that information from Charlie. You know, where he got the meters, you know, where he got the
Oh,
type, you know, the amount of meters. You know what I mean? So I'll reach out to him tomorrow and ask him how he got the 1,400 residential and so on. So let me do some homework on it.
didn't we discuss that when they did their presentation, that number didn't seem to be correct?
I seem to recall that too, so.
Yeah,
I'll need to, and the fact is, the email he gave me I guess it was either yesterday or today, was pretty close to the presentation number. And I got the presentation right here in front of me, and it had had the figures on it.
hmm,
So it was 400, at the time of the presentation, their estimate was 469,000. So it's lower
hmm.
at the time of the presentation. So I'll ask him why the difference.
Yes,
December 7th, why did it jump up to 500 and something?
yeah.
Let me do some more homework and I'll see if I can, hopefully I'm ready for the meeting. It's hard pulling data out of everybody. I have all the figures, so I should be able to do a spreadsheet for you guys. And then it's just a matter of deciding what we want to do.
We have to devise a plan, how we're gonna go through this step by step. Some of it might require public hearings.
Well, at least we're getting more information
Mhm.
as far as finding out.
We
to
know
the
more
point-
now in a week, this week, than we did last week.
Yes. And
So can we set up a meeting for, say, 3 o'clock next Monday?
if that's your pleasure,
It depends. I mean, I'm available. It depends on
Yep.
everybody else.
3
Yes.
PM,
It works for me.
Monday, 3 PM work for everybody or for the majority of us?
That's
Yeah,
for me.
On my calendar.
So just some other information. Eaton came back today to work on the substation
Yeah,
again, did some testing on the relays, and they all tested good. Which now leads them back. So everything in the little building down there, the little brick building that we got, tested good.
okay.
That's a
No.
relief.
No, it's not actually, but
Well,
they gotta focus on that big, huge transformer. And if something's wrong with that transformer, that's
that's the brains, I'm guessing.
that's the power. That's what.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But if that doesn't work, nothing functions
Yeah, so
without that.
talking with Rob today, I'm like, how much does one of those cost? And he said you're talking $400,000 for one of them. So we don't know I don't know. They have to come back.
Yeah, that's why we need a plan. We've got to
Yeah.
go step to step to step, because I don't believe any of us know. I'll venture to guess anything about that substation.
Well, no, I mean, I talked with Rob today about it for about, I don't know, 30 minutes. I mean, thank God I got Rob to talk to about all these questions. He's really been helpful, but they're back onto, they're gonna go back out and have to test the big transformer now and see exactly what's going on. Now, he did tell me it's low on oil. And being low on oil would make this happen. And being very cold, the oil level, it shrinks. It's even lower, being really cold. And that day it was really cold. It was degrees. He said it could be that all we got to do is fill that up with oil. So those things have, I don't know, 50, 60, 80 gallons of oil in it, whatever it is. So,
I mean, it's not like we had a guidebook from AED to refer to
yeah,
on what's what
yeah,
down there, and
It
how
would be
it's maintained, or how it's what
Yeah.
scheduled work it needs to be done.
well, that's all. I think that's all probably spelled out somewhere. Maybe not in their literature upstairs or their policies, but somewhere out there, they just like us, you change oil every 3,000 miles in your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they know what they got to do, but they just never did it.
So
So-
you're gonna fill the thing up with oil?
Yeah, it may be that, and that's what he told me. He said, I'm leaning towards that right now, and keep your fingers crossed, that's all it is, and we didn't
Well,
burn it out.
if it doesn't have enough, if it's low on oil, why don't we fill it?
Yeah,
Somebody who does that.
well, it's so old, they gotta come back, they gotta get all the figures and see what it needs. So he's gonna get me that information.
Okay,
So I'm waiting for a full report from Eaton on that, so maybe I can present it Monday. Maybe I'll have that report for you. And,
I don't think the transformer has a dipstick.
it actually has a gauge right on it, and you can see it. It says low.
Okay.
But
you can see it's low.
it does read low. Rob noticed that, but it's on low, but it's on as low as it goes. So it's lower than low. You know what I mean? It's like your gas gauge gets to E and then,
Yeah. You got the proverbial 30 more miles you can drive before it's completely dry. At least that's what my husband used to say.
it's lower than the low mark right
Yeah.
now. So the guy said it's really low.
Are both transformers the same?
They're exactly the same, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's the little update on that. We're still looking at the problem. We still don't have a backup. And then the other problem is the reclosure. Remember I mentioned the reclosure that
Yeah.
had a mouse nest in it? I got the quote today for that, and that's only gonna cost us $14,000 to be installed turnkey. So the quote on replacing that's turnkey, them installing it, and then firing it back up, $14,000 and change. I'll have to write that up and present that to you guys. And maybe I can do that Monday, and you guys can vote on that too, and see what you want to go with that. And that's all the good news I got.
Thanks a lot, Craig.
I know.
Yeah, you did a heck of a lot of work, but man.
Any questions?
Um,
Not right this minute.
help?
Oh,
Are we better off than Texas?
oh my God, yeah, we could be that bad. And again, I talked to Rob a little bit today too about his feelings on joining the team again, and he's like, well, I'm still thinking. He's still I think
Still mulling it over.
still mulling it over, and I don't know, maybe Alan can talk, but you're friendly with him, Alan. See if you can push him over. I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna take. I think I know he generally feels bad about leaving us where we are. And I don't know if it's just the uncertainty of the fate of Ashland Electric that he doesn't want to, put all his eggs here where he's got a job. And then
He doesn't want to burn any bridges.
Enough
Well-
speculation about that.
I mean, a lot of people say, let's sell it, sell the department. So I think maybe if he had I don't know if that's it or not. Maybe he'd feel better if he was confident that he'd have a job in 10 years. I don't know if that's it or not. I really don't. But he's probably going to listen to the meeting after. Maybe he'll call me tonight.
Okay.
He's been listening to our meetings. So anyway, there's a little bit of, I don't know. We'll hopefully we can get him back. He could interpret all this data so much easier than I can. It's just takes a little longer than normal, I think.
Okay.
That's all I got for you guys. I'm sorry it wasn't more, but
Well, that was more than I expected.
and I'll put it together. I'll so everybody can understand it. I'll work on a spreadsheet.
Yes, please.
It won't be the 3 pages from Eaton because there's a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah, that makes your eyes cross reading that.
Well, I'll try to work on that. I'll get some real numbers. I'll see if I can talk to Ann and over Ken Nolan over at Vesper, and we'll put it all on paper for you.
Okay, we'll see what Monday brings.
Thanks, Craig. I think.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and as far as the finance go, finding out where we totally are, there's information that finance needs from the town treasurer to finish out 2020, to give us a exact amount of money that we have and where it is for AED.
We need that ASAP.
I noticed that Catherine has already sent an email to Linda about it.
Do we need to back up that request?
My feeling would be if Catherine doesn't get what she requests in a timely fashion, then yes.
Well, here we
But-
are, getting to the mid-February. Last year should be reconciled by now.
this is why we got Greg Colby in there. And he made a valiant effort to get us closed out, and we're very close to the end.
But but it's that missing, that's that reconciliation they need.
And that's been requested. Uh, Let me see. Moving on to another topic. Our town clerk tax collector wants to know whether it's deeding time for tax liens, and wants to know whether we want her to explain it to us and for her to handle it, or whether we want to call the people on the list. And generally, I think that it's still in her bailiwick.
She's done this for years and done a great job. I
Yeah.
don't see any reason to mess with that system.
That's
Well,
fine.
we do have some people who it appears need to be held to the agreement they entered in with the tax collector, town clerk, to make certain payments. They've fallen by the wayside. I don't like to just sign off on all of these. I know the first time I had to deal with this 3 years ago, it was an eye opener for me. And we do have Andy and Alan who have not participated in this. I would think it would be beneficial to have a conversation with Mrs. Tucker, so she can explain to us how she initiates contact with these people and how she sets up a repayment program.
She's always gone over the list with us, and that's probably beneficial.
Yeah,
It's
she
rare
didn't
that
do it. She didn't do it last year, and I still felt that I needed more information to make sure that we would, meeting the law and still trying to be sensitive to some people's needs. Shouldn't take too long. I believe it might take maybe an hour at the most. And if we all can gain a better understanding of this process, I think it's worth the while.
I mean, we do have Ashland properties in the mix,
Mm-hmm.
just for.
We have some properties down in that area that are been added to the list too, in the Mill District.
So we can set up a non-public to go over the list with her. So
Yeah. That might be more convenient to do in the morning or an afternoon too, while she's at her desk.
And
So, Mr. Badger, you will have that discussion with Mrs. Tucker?
absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Did everybody get to see the David Rule's letter to the editor in the Sun?
yes, you sent it. I appreciate
Yes.
that.
Perhaps we should share with what we received in the report. I would call it more like a list that was sent to us in November from the Historical Society. We can screen share that.
Let me see if I can get the right one. Wrong finger. Does everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay. Do you need it larger?
No, I don't.
Okay.
All I see is shingling part of the roof, which needs to be replaced.
Uh,
And according to the paper, $10,000 to $12,000. How do we go from here to there? What is the time frame? What is the issue? Is it leaking? Are the shingles missing?
Well, I think it might be a good idea to have our building inspector take a look at it.
I agree. Have him do a walkthrough. He can coordinate with Mr. Rule. I would suggest too that maybe the land use assistant, who's very familiar with the building, could partner with the building inspector. So everything can be documented and if we need pictures, whatever, but that's, where did the estimate come from? And like I said, what is the issue?
I mean, it's still a town building
Yep, it needs to be fixed.
and it needs to be fixed.
Yep.
And I would agree that, I mean, they've made the statement that in their letter that the rent that they charge doesn't cover the operational costs of the building.
Well, it never will at that rate. Which I think came out at the SB2 meeting when
Yeah.
some people realize that. It's not our place to tell them how to manage, but we also have to be, after all, we are the landlords. The BOS is the landlord for the town of Ashland. It's an old building. It's always going to need some work, but we need to have the facts put in front of us. And we can partner with them, for heaven's sakes. We do have capital reserves for grounds and buildings. I hate to think this stuff being done through taxation. But not to go down that rabbit hole. Do you want a motion or can we do it by consensus that we'll?
You know, let's finish this off on Monday. I'm not trying to put it off, but we don't have, if we want to use our grounds buildings maintenance line, we've got to know how much
Mhm.
that we have to use.
So what do you suggest that we have the building inspector?
I would like to see the building inspector take a look at it.
I only suggest that we initiate that because I believe he's in the office tomorrow. He can set up an appointment.
That would, I'm not sure that we have to get very official about asking him to go take a look at something. I think that I want to know how much money it's going to cost to fix the roof. If we had an estimate, I think that looking at using some of that money is a possibility. But I want to know how much we're going to be taking out of that. And yes, if we can use some non-taxable,
Mhm.
make it non-taxable, it would make it,
A win-win for both of us,
yeah.
both parties, yeah.
And in a similar vein, I'd like to know what the issues are with the bridge, that actually how much money and what sort of issues do people see in our covered bridge?
No, because we have a process that we have to follow.
Our covered bridge, Eli, there's nothing structurally wrong with it. I have Grayton in there all the time doing repairs on that.
Okay,
And we did some repairs to the deck boards. Everything about that bridge that party over there that lives near it wants to fix is all cosmetic. As Grayton puts it, it gives the bridge character. When you have a scrape down the side of it, and you can never keep a bridge like that pristine, and all the scrapes and things on it that have happened over time from whatever adds to the character of the bridge. And the people over there would like to make improvements to it. That's what they're proposing, and they're gonna raise money to do that on their own accord. It won't cost the town any money. I mean,
Like I said, there's a process to doing this.
so that didn't come about by me. If it
I
saves,
know that,
Yeah.
that's fine, but the covered bridge is in good shape, and it's the deck boards that are currently on it, although they want to replace them because they look worn, perfectly structurally sound, and they have replaced last summer the ones that needed to be, actually it was in the fall, the ones that needed to be replaced. And
It is a working bridge.
It
It's
is.
part of our road system. It's not a standalone.
And
Structure.
part of the guardrails leading up to it, up until we had the COVID problem, I had a quote all ready to go. David actually got a hold of the historical committee, and I presented him with a repair cost of that, and they agreed to take that out of the funds. However, the COVID hit, and the price of pressure treated, and we were gonna do the work ourselves. We were gonna replace it ourselves, because that's pretty easy work for us to do. And the price of pressure treated lumber tripled. So
wow,
talking with Bird down at Ashland Lumber, Dan Ullman, he said, I can't even buy that lumber myself for what I quoted you.
Yeah.
So we put it off. We just can't afford to, and I can't remember the quote. It wasn't too much, $5,000, I think, for us to do the work ourselves. In other words, Public Works we were going to replace all the guardrails leading up to that. Which would lift the top boards and the sideboards, the structural posts into the concrete, into the ground are fine. It's just the dressing out of it. But anyway, it's structurally sound, and I told Grayton's not to, by mistake, they forwarded that quote for the repairs to Charlie, which they didn't mean to do. I mean, I guess he got it, but it was all brought on by this private citizen.
okay,
That helps answer any of your questions.
Yeah,
it does.
it does. Yeah.
I have a question, Eli.
Yeah,
This is in regards to involving our building inspector in looking these projects over. Are we just going to basically say, have him look at it and say, yes, it needs a new roof? Or am I trying to read into where you're headed, have him throw a number there for us to what it would cost?
well,
Well, since we don't know where they got the figure from, which would be valuable to share with us, Historical Society, did they bring in people for quotes? That he might be able to, after inspecting it, say that is within the ballpark. I don't believe he's hired to do that kind of work. He's
Well,
inspecting the building, not drawing, providing quotes for
Well, that's why
repair.
I'm asking because if it is gonna go down that road, I have a problem with it. I actually have a problem getting the building inspector involved. Yes, it falls in a category, so to speak, but he's got other more important things to do.
It is a town building, and that would be something that we could direct him to inspect for us. Unless anybody else feel the same way as Alan, I don't believe he can be, I don't want to use the pigeonhole, but I certainly can't go look at it. I could probably say, yeah, looks bad. Something needs to be done. But he's also code enforcement. That building is open to the public. It does have a human being living there. So we have to be mindful that we have housing standards that have to be met. So that would fall under code enforcement also, that's my belief.
I think you are right. Hello, anybody else go support us?
Hey, it's since I was asked, my idea was just to have the building inspector inspect the building. If there are other things that need to be done, I would like to know about it. Other than just have a note that they need to shingle part of the roof.
Or we see a letter in the paper.
Not only that, we're talking about expending taxpayer money, so it
Yes.
behooves us
Yeah.
to have our own building inspector take a look at it.
I think so.
Thank you, Fran.
I'm not looking for our building inspector to say, I think it should cost about $50,000 to do that.
No, we're not asking him to draw up not to be the building contractor.
That's not his job.
No.
I'm just looking for information.
Yep.
Uh,
This is
what-
information gathering.
What needs to be repaired? What can we see in the future that needs to be done? I don't think that that's too much out of line.
So how do we initiate this? We just send him a message because
I think,
we have not had, not past building inspectors, how do I
I
put it?
I think that
They
just-
didn't always respond to requests.
I think that sending him an email, or actually, since he's going to be in there tomorrow,
And you will be in there also?
I will be in the office also. I will go up and talk to him. If that's what you let me do.
Please, thank you.
Yes, I agree. Andy?
I have no problem with that as long as he's not gonna try to give us a price or anything else.
No,
He
I-
should be looking at a town building, absolutely.
Okay? Does anybody have anything else they want to bring up?
Should we mention the other email we got yesterday? That must have surprised everybody
Oh, the town clock.
about the town clock. I did speak to the chair of trustees of the trust fund. There's $4,000+ in that reserve at this time. I don't know how this quote was initiated. Does anybody have any inkling? And I did send some of the board members the information I had because some of you were not on the board when this started, but should we Are we supposed to respond to that? That quote and say, at this time, we don't have the funds? Thank you for your consideration. I don't know. I don't know how it was initiated.
I think it would be fine to, since the town owns the clock, we, once again, we are coming into something that we do not have the full information.
Mhm.
We can look for it through Charlie's notes. It certainly wasn't in his playbook. But we can see what information there is on it. And at our next meeting, craft a response
Okay.
of some sort.
I just don't want any emails that come through. I feel they just at least deserve a response, a courtesy.
Absolutely. But I don't respond to some of them until we talk.
Yes, you should, Mr. Badger.
Eli,
Yes.
I'll just throw this in there. I don't, it's irrelevant, but it isn't. There is talk that the church wants to remove that steeple as well.
That's what
Yeah.
I heard too, but that's hearsay and I don't like to
I'm gonna say
operate on
it
that.
could be hearsay, but it's a little bit more than that.
Okay. Well, if you have more, share it with the board, please.
I just did. That's why I put it out there.
Yeah, it's, if they want to, if they're going to remove the steeple, which probably would be a good idea. We have to get, the clock has to be removed from the steeple.
And then what?
Well, then we have a clock that's,
Broken.
we have a broken clock.
No hope.
Yes.
We have a broken clock anyway.
We have a broken clock up there. I mean, it does have, it must have some value. And you saw the value of what the repairs will make it.
You know, a while back, we were told it couldn't be repaired, so.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it could be repaired in the place it is.
No, I don't think.
No
it-
idea what we'd do with it if we took it down, so.
Yes, I mean, I remember at one time, there was talk about putting it in a case and sticking it in Memorial Park. Okay, that's about what I thought.
Is that for the old clock that we found down at the,
Yeah, what happened to that, Craig? The old clock.
oh, so this isn't the old clock?
This is.
Oh, this is the one that's in
top
the
of back
church.
Steeple.
Okay.
We're talking about the one that's sitting in the steeple,
Oh,
not the one that was down in one of your buildings at Public Works. Did the Historical Society ever take that?
No, we oiled it all up, completely oiled it and put it on a pallet, got it out of the rusting water and wrapped in it. So it's just sitting there all oiled. So it's not rusting at least.
Ugh. I thought the Historical Society wanted it, but
That's the one that's really unique and we ought to put in a case somewhere and display because it's that is pretty interesting when you look at it.
okay, I guess we'll
Is there
put
another-
that on the to-do list.
Okay. Is there?
So
any-
Eli, going forward, how do we contact the owners of the church to find out what their intentions are doing or are going to be with that steeple?
We find out who the fathers of the church are.
Well, they have a vestry,
Yeah,
but I don't know who's involved in that.
I think we need to find that out. The sooner the better.
I think that would be a good idea.
Alan, do you know anybody?
Not offhand anymore.
No, the person I knew, the couple I knew are not involved with the church any longer. And she has since passed away.
There must be a telephone number to the church, and if we
Well, I would,
call that number and leave a message, somebody will get back to us.
I would suggest you just call Pastor Ernie.
I don't know Pastor Ernie, and I don't know Pastor
Well,
Ernie's.
Well, I think
Well,
like us, they have a board of directors that are
Yeah.
supposed to make these decisions, but
As I say,
that's
if
why
we
I said
call,
I believe it's called the vestry.
if we
but-
call the church,
They should
And
have
that-
somebody who
we're
can
supposed-
take a message at least.
yeah,
Give that to the town manager.
who is Stefan's iPad? Okay. Anything else?
Well, I think we have quite a lot on our plate,
Oh, yes.
especially since we still could have some very cold days ahead and we want to make sure we can provide the electricity.
Absolutely. Okay. Anything else?
Okay, folks. Yeah, I just want to advise you of my schedule for the next week.
Okay,
I'm scheduled to work until Saturday, and then I'm working one day next week, which will be Tuesday. So I will be unavailable Tuesday of next week.
Okay.
After that, I'll be back to retired or semi-retired or whatever.
or whatever we decide we are.
That's right.
Okay,
Whatever strikes your fancy that day.
are we done conducting business?
I believe so.
I'll take a motion then. Fran,
So moved.
I'll second it.
thank you all for coming.